Hey guys, Kyle from Dwarf. On this video we're going to be taking a look at the Mezzana Cuts, or the middle blow. So again, just like I did with the other two, I'm going to start with Fiore's thoughts on the middle blows. So we are the middle blows Mezzana, and we are so called because we go crosswise through the middle of the path of both the downward blows and the rising blows. And we strike with the true edge of the sword from the right and with the false edge of the sword from the left. And our path could be anywhere between the knees and the head. So let's take a look at that. So the angle is really easy to explain in terms of the angle. If we look at what a fendente is, or a descending blow, that's our angle here. If we look at the rising blow, that's our angle here. So there's our rising, there's our descending, there's the angle of our middle blow. Okay? It's kind of a flat level plane. Now, if we look at how to do that properly, much like the other two blows, when I actually throw the cut, I want to make sure that I'm keeping my hands in. I don't want to do this kind of big projected cut this way, because what's going to happen is my opponent's either going to strike me in the arms, or they're going to reach in and grapple and maybe grab my arm, push me away, or grab the cross guard and manipulate the blade. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my hands in when I get till I get to about here, and then only then getting that turn. It's also important to note that when you do a Mezzana cut, particularly the Mandrito Mezzana we're talking about here, is that you don't want to end up way out here like this, because now I'm very overswung, I'm very overexposed, and it's going to take me a very long time to return to protect myself. So I want to make sure that I'm finishing with my point kind of still on line here. Okay? Now if we look at other versions of the Flower of Battle, it specifically says when it comes to the Mezzana cuts that we go thwarting. Now what does that mean? It basically means, if we look at this cut again, that it's going to be a much wider, easier to see attack than a fendente, which you can be a little more sneaky with, and even the kind of the rising cut you can be a little sneakier with. This is going to be the easiest to see coming because humans have very, very, very good peripheral vision thanks to thousands of years of trying not to get eaten, okay? Which means my opponent can perceive this and react more quickly than some of the other blows. So why would I want to use them at all then? Well, they are a powerful cut, but they're a really good cut to use if you're trying to be defensive in an aggressive way. So a downward blow is very, very powerful, especially if you try to just meet it by pushing back the same way. It's very strong. That's how you get into that Hollywood kind of shoving match, and realistically the stronger swordsman might just blow through the weaker swordsman's cut to begin with if you try to meet them directly that way. However, forward momentum and motion like that is very weak against lateral pressure, moving sideways. So as my opponent goes to cut at me like this, I can basically knock their blade aside very easily. If I keep my kind of angle here, I'm very well defended if he manages to recover and tries to cut back. I've already blocked him, I've closed the line. I may even strike them in the head as I do that, because it's just going to push their sword out of the way. I'm not trying to resist and push back, I'm just using their momentum against me, okay? If you've ever seen The Karate Kid, think wax on, wax off, okay? You're knocking it away, you're just redirecting their energy and their momentum, rather than trying to just meet it directly. Now, one thing that's really interesting to note when it comes to the Mezzana cuts is that in the Flower of Battle, Fiore specifically mentions if you're doing a Mandrito Fendente, a Mandrito Mezzana, you're going to want to do a true edge cut, and then if you're doing a Reverso Mezzana, you're going to want to do a false edge cut. Why only do the false edge from that side? Well, it's pretty simple. If we look at that cut, every other cut we've talked about, Fiore always wants us to keep his hands in until the blade is ahead of us, right? If I do a Mandrito Fendente, keeping the hands in so the blade can get out. If I'm doing a Mandrito Satano, keeping the hands in until the blade comes out. Same with the Mandrito Mezzana. keeping the hands till the blade comes out. However, with the reverso Mezzana, it's impossible for me to fully get the blade out before the hands come out, no matter how good I am. The arms are always going to kind of come out first. Even if I do kind of this, I'm still here. The hands are going to come out first. But if instead of doing a true edge cut, I do a false edge cut, now I can keep my hands in until after the blade has come out. And another reason he might say that is, again, going back to that situation where I tried to knock the blade aside. Maybe I tried to throw that cut out. I've lured my opponent into cutting back at me. The fastest way for me then to knock his blade aside will be like that. Okay, so just knocking it aside that way. So that's just kind of a brief summary of the Mezzana cuts and some of the tactical uses you can use them for. Hope you found this informative. Next up, we're going to be talking about the thrusts.